You need to stop. I'm not upset about that. I collected 7 this morning. So 1 this afternoon is great. I'm lucky to be getting anything. Hi friends, and welcome back to Rugged Mountain Homestead. My name is Sarah, and today I have a lot going on in the kitchen. So I just thought I would invite you to come along with me and get some of these projects going. But I'm not gonna lie, I am moving rather slow today. My back was betraying me last night and I was up quite a bit of the night. So I'm moving a little slow, but we're still gonna get things done. Thank you again to all of you who are sending me well wishes and prayers. So the first thing we're gonna get into is coffee creamer. I was someone who believed that I would cook from scratch, do the very best I could, but there were some things that just could not be made. That I would just have to, suck it up and buy. And I was wrong. It had to start somewhere in someone's kitchen. So I have jumped into making coffee creamer for Dean. He uses the plain powdered coffee creamer, and I have found a fantastic recipe for flavored coffee creamers for myself. I love seasonal coffee creamers. So I'm going to be making peppermint mocha, and I have to give all the credit to a YouTube channel called Plow and Pantry. She had a pumpkin spice, eggnog, and peppermint mocha. And I've only made the pumpkin spice so far. So we're gonna make the peppermint mocha today and see how that turns out. Since making my coffee creamer will take a bit more time, we'll go ahead and do it first. Her recipe calls for 1/3 cup chocolate chips, 1 can of sweetened condensed milk, and 1.5 cups of half and half creamer. Now, the sweetened condensed milk is what I think is the game changer. I never would have thought of adding that to a coffee creamer, but it was an absolute game changer for pumpkin spice. So I'm going to go ahead and get this over to the stove. I have to get the chocolate melted and everything combined. Okay, so I have my pot of now boiling water. It's probably only 1/4 of the way full. I'm going to set another pot inside. Adding the half and half first. The sweetened condensed milk. Now, I never said this was healthy for you, but personally, during the holidays, I do allow myself some grace. Okay. I'm just going to add in the chocolate chips, 1/3 cup. I'm just going to stir this pretty constantly until I can see that those chips are melted. Now I have all my cast iron stacked up over here because I have a turkey in the oven. And you may be wondering, didn't we just have turkey? We did not. We had tenderloin for Thanksgiving from our beef share, but I had a gift card that Dean had won. I actually had 2 of them. And so I went to the market and I bought a 16-pound turkey, and I think it's probably a 10-15 pound ham. Anyway, I have the turkey in the oven cooking. We're going to have some of it for dinner tonight, and then I'm going to can the rest of it. Obviously not a raw pack, so I'll be making broth to pour over top of that to can up turkey. Okay, I switched over to a whisk, and I think that's actually doing better. Okay, now on kitchen reset days, that basically means that I'm preparing the kitchen for the week ahead. And I like to make myself a list. If I didn't, things would be even more scattered than they are currently. So it doesn't mean you're going to get to everything on your list. So I'm going to take the most important things first. So Dean leaves out his containers for me when he's running low. Like, this is his oatmeal, which I make for him. He likes to eat oatmeal almost every day. And then this is his canister or jar for coffee creamer. And this is his way of letting me know he's completely out, because each week, I don't have to do this each week for his things. They usually last a couple weeks. But today is my big kitchen reset day. So I have coffee creamer for myself, coffee creamer for Dean, his oatmeal. I made peppermint cookie dough last night. I think they're kind of like sugar cookies, but they're peppermint cookies. I got the recipe for the peppermint cookies out of my 1950s Better Homes and Gardens cookbook. And after making the peppermint cookie dough and leaving it to chill in the refrigerator overnight, I saw right next to it, but I missed it yesterday, a recipe for vanilla wafers. So see, before you could buy vanilla wafers, I'm sure, back in the stores in the early 50s, but they can be made at home. So there's a lot of things that I'm still learning. And as we see more and more bioengineered food ingredients, otherwise known as GMOs, in almost everything in our food, we really need to learn how to make those things that are now adulterated with GMOs in our stores. So I'm going to go ahead and set this down, let this thaw a bit. I left it in the refrigerator just because, again, the turkey is in the oven, and so I need just to leave it on the side and let it defrost a little bit. If I'd thought about it, if I wasn't so scattered and moving so slow today, I would have put that turkey in my big roaster and left my oven free, but it's all good. All right, so let's do Dean's coffee creamer. This is super simple. It is just dry milk and powdered sugar. And I'm just going to make this powdered sugar. I usually use 1 1/3 cups. Okay, the blade is on in there, and I'm just going to go ahead and let this pulverize until we have powdered sugar. Okay. Okay, when making powdered sugar, this is the consistency that I like. It truly is just like a powder. So now I'm going to add the dried milk. Okay, now to this 1 1/3 cup of sugar. I'm going to add 2 cups of dry milk. And I'm going to do this in 1/2 cup increments just because it's easier. Okay, so there's 2 cups of dried milk. This is just regular dry milk that you buy in your big box store. I always keep it on hand. I keep it in a big 1-gallon jar like this, and it'll last us several months. Put my lid back on, and we're just going to pulverize it again. Okay, now this is the consistency that I like it. It's just like the coffee creamer that you would buy in the store, the powdered. And Dean has let me know that he actually prefers this because I can customize it to the level of sweetness that he likes. So I'm just going to go ahead and refill his jar. Now I know I have this on another video about making Dean's oatmeal. So if you haven't seen it, I'll just run through this again, but rather quickly. Okay, so I'm going to use 2 cups of quick rolled oats. And I'm just going to add it on top of what's already in there. It'll get combined here in just a second. I use approximately 1/2 cup of raisins, maybe even 3/4. It just depends on your preference. Sometimes Dean has asked for more, sometimes he's asked for me to back off. So this was probably 3/4 of a cup. It's not an exact science, it's just however you like it. That's the beauty of it. Now I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. And 1/3 of a cup of sugar. This is not brown sugar. It does look a little darker. It is organic cane sugar or organic cane juice. It's just expressed straight from the sugar cane, but it's not brown sugar. I'm just going to shake it up to get it all combined. And there you have it. This is a 1/2 gallon jar. And so this is probably 1 quart, and this will last him probably 4 or 5 days. So that is taken care of for him for this week. Okay, so now that I have our coffee creamers finished for a couple weeks, Dean's breakfast finished for the week, I'm going to go ahead and get some cookies done for the week as well. Again, I did make this dough last night and chilled it. So I'm going to go ahead and put some flour on my rolling pin and get these cookies rolled out. Now for some reason I thought I had candy cane cookie cutters, but I do not. So I'm going to use the little stockings. I thought how cute to make peppermint cookies and then cut them out using a candy cane. But I had given all my cookie cutters to my daughter, and so I had to run out, and I couldn't find anything else other than these little cheapies, but they'll do. And I just measure the dough by the cookie cutter depth. So I'm going to go ahead and cut a few out. I want to get this done relatively quickly before the dough starts getting soft. I had this sugar mixture left over from some ginger snaps that I made. So I'll just kind of lightly dust these cutouts with this. And then I'll probably move over to the red sugar once I've gotten through this. And if I get some on the mat and I happen to roll some cookies out on top of it, that's okay because I was going to sprinkle them with it anyway. They smell delicious. Peppermint cookies. These are not going to last around here. Not at all. They might last through tomorrow or maybe the next day. If I dipped these in chocolate, they would taste exactly like the Girl Scout Thin Mint cookies. Never thought I would ever find that other than a Girl Scout box. But that is what these peppermint cookies taste like. Okay, now the last thing I have to do now is to mix my coffee creamer thoroughly. This is the peppermint mocha. And I'm going to go ahead and turn my immersion blender to 1. And I have the whisk attachment on, and it just fits into the jar. I'll go ahead and put a lid on that and call it done. It's still warm. I can touch it, but not for a long time. It's still fairly warm. So I'm going to wait a little bit and let it cool down some more before I put it in the refrigerator. Okay, I'm going to take a minute and have a seat. Coffee creamers are finished. The oatmeal is put away and the turkey has been resting on top of the stove. We're going to have mashed potatoes and squash with that. That's going to be some of the delicata squash that we harvested from the garden back in September. So it's really delicious. I go ahead and I try to plan out my meals at the beginning of the week. I'm not so rigid that I say, okay, on Monday we eat this, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and have it that way. I just plan out a week's worth of meals and make sure that if I need meat from the freezer, that I go ahead and I get it and put it in the refrigerator to thaw, or I may be using canned meat that's in the pantry, or we may be having a quiche and I just need the eggs. So I go ahead and try to write that down on my planner. It seems like these days that if I don't write it down, it doesn't happen. I also want to make sure that I refill any jars that I need, that they're done as well. Things such as any of my spices, my seasoning blends, anything like that. And that's how I restart my week. I also make sure my laundry day is usually like on Thursdays. I just make sure that if I have a load that's kind of straggled, that it's finished as well. It's just a good start to the week. Now, some of you have very kindly asked about how my back is doing, and I really appreciate that. The last, I think that I even spoke about it, was that I showed a picture of my x-ray, and I had an upcoming visit with the spine surgeon. I've had that visit, and we've discussed everything from injections, physical therapy, which I've been doing, to a foraminotomy, which is a surgical procedure, or reconstruction, which I completely want to stay away from if I can. So I had the steroid injection. It's not providing the amount of relief that I was hoping that it would, but I did have that done. The MRI also showed that the passageway where your nerve bundles come out, I have an area that passageway is blocked. So that's what a foraminotomy would take care of. The other bit of nerve pain is coming from the scoliosis. So I have an upcoming appointment. I've done physical therapy. I've had dry needling with electric stimulation. That was good. The first time it was 12 hours relief. The second time it was only 8 hours relief. So it's just getting less and less. So I have an upcoming appointment next month, and she will advise what the next step is. And so I will let you know when I know something more. But I do really, truly appreciate all your thoughts and kindnesses and words, people that have reached out in prayers. It means the world to me. We really are happy to be able to share this life with you. And we thank you for spending your time with us. I look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, take care.